Yep. It is a Monday, and we are on episode 27 of the Slicer TV podcast. And guess what? I'm left in the lurch by my partners, one in recovery, obviously. The film festival in Joburg took a toll on my brother. Yeah, so he's out there recovering. And obviously, the queen, the first lady of the podcast, has some very important matters of importance in the country that she has to handle. So she cannot join us today as well, chasing deadlines as far as that we are concerned. It is the Slicer TV podcast. And guess what? I think today I normally would take off my spectacles, but as you can see, I'm on a new frame. So that means I'm going blind. I'm not going down like Mary J. Blige. I'm just going blind. That is it. I'll try. It's a new pair, so I have to, work between looking at you on the camera, and as well as paying attention to, my busyness right here in front of me. But guess what? Let's try. Let's see. Can I see? Can you guys see me? Anyway, let's forget all the jokes and stuff. Very busy time. And I think a week as well. If you remember, we brought you a special broadcast last week, Monday. Yep, where we took a look at the Eastern Cape Film Festival with Uncaba Mkolomba. Word around town is that it was successful. I still haven't gotten the full feedback from that, but from the little lives that I watched here and there, I could pick up that everything was going well. What a hectic couple of days it has been, because we were together last Sunday already. I mean, like last Monday, when we brought you that special broadcast. And in part, we brought you or we spoke to the CEO of the AIDC. And that was around an event that took place last Wednesday, which was the MEC's automotive roundtable, where big wigs in the automotive space got together. And this time around, if you remember last year, they were discussing EVs, electric vehicles. This year, they were focusing on logistics. You will remember everybody's talking about potholes. Everybody's talking about, shipment being delayed, coming from, all parts of the country. So the round table was around that. And very beautiful for me, it was the fact that it was right on the feet of the budget speech in Gauteng, and the event was graced by Nomzana Maile, who is the MSc in Gauteng, which was very interesting. And obviously big wigs. We even had the acting CEO at the Durban Harbour. You will remember, I think it was 2003 that there were delays in terms of shipment that was coming in, and also learning that the influx of, obviously, I mean, like, it's out there for everybody. We covered it in the last episode, and the CEO did speak about it. The fact that, things have really changed now when we look at the automotive space, and especially around complete vehicles that are coming into the country and those that are going out of the country, which are causing some very various challenges as far as the automotive space is concerned. Very interesting stats. Was putting together that video, and we will broadcast it next week. But today we'll bring you some highlights here and there. But before we get to all of that, it's been a very tumultuous time, very interesting time in South Africa. We will remember that we have Ebrahim Rasool, Onikwe Upumaphele, as in some, like, the United States of America, the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. What can I get, Jonga? Chep, you are a persona non grata in the United States of America. We're giving you 72 hours to get out of the country. And this was, you will remember the story stemming from his views on the United States, and that this was covered online, and in reports that were emerged later on, it was probably said it was allegedly somebody who was not supposed to be part of the group that he was sitting with, because he's talking about the fact that like those were preparations for something they needed, they were to table, because if you remember, he took flack from the fact that like he went out and he did not go via the president in expressing those views, and it was all over. And obviously the US doing what it does best, which is going on Elon Musk's largely on his platform, and getting rid of people or telling people where to get off, and that's what he got. And he made his way back to the country. And apparently, well, it was not with his tail between his legs. The welcome was amazing, as far as he's concerned. I think I do have that somewhere for you to play.
Many people have said, what is diplomacy? We tried the conventional diplomacy and tried to avoid discussions about the genocide. We tried the conventional diplomacy and said that we must pretend that there is no merit in the idea, or that there's merit in the idea of land confiscations. We could not ignore that. And so we had to go to what is the diplomacy of Ubuntu, the diplomacy of mutual interdependence, that I am because you are. The diplomacy of Ubuntu is not the art of lying for your country.
That's true.
It is the art of speaking the truth, but gently. The diplomacy of Ubuntu is not flattering your host, and the diplomacy of Ubuntu is not denying what is wrong. The diplomacy of Ubuntu is intellectual engagement, and it is persuasion of your host about a better way. The diplomacy of Ubuntu is not sacrificing your values, but it is about universalizing your values. The diplomacy of Ubuntu is not about forfeiting your interests and not having interests with another country, but it is about pursuing your interest but keeping your dignity. That's what the diplomacy of Ubuntu is about, and that's what I thought was the way forward in this very difficult and challenging situation of our relationship with the United States. We have tried to engage. We have been met with executive orders that cut our aid, cut PEPFAR, and now we sit with the idea that millions could be reinfected with HIV and AIDS. The research for the vaccine may not be one that could be completed. Those are the dangerous things that are happening, and why we must mend our relationship or sit out the next 4 years. This is what we have been trying to do, and we must wish that President Cyril Ramaphosa must be able to find someone who can mend that relationship without sacrificing our values.
There it is, very interesting. And of course, thank you very much to my home, the South African Broadcasting Corporation. That's where we borrowed that clip to bring it to you and to put you into perspective in terms of how the former ambassador to the United States of America, Ebrahim Rasool, was received. And obviously, a lot of people were talking about the fact that like he should not have re-engaged, because obviously he could not avoid the fact that like loads of people who were in support of him and his statements and what he stands for were at the airport to welcome him. But he, even then, during that press conference, it was obviously expected to say something, but probably not delving deeper into things. And news that came out of that was that obviously who is charged with foreign affairs or Mr. Lamola, minister, was there to welcome Mr. Rasool when he arrived, and he met with him on Saturday. And obviously, everybody has been saying, President, what are you doing? What is going to happen? Are we going to send an envoy who is going to replace him? And very interesting on the replacement part, I really would like to get your opinion on it. I really seriously would like to get your opinion on it, because of the picked up. I think I was listening to one of our sister stations, a talk radio station, and they were talking about getting Lindiwe Sisulu. Okay, Lindiwe Sisulu. They need somebody who's not tainted, someone who is not affiliated, someone who has a representative, someone who can engage and. But that was from a caller on a radio station, one of our sister radio stations, like on the talk side of things. But that's what's out there as far as that is concerned. It is the fact that people are calling, obviously, from the DA, Helen Zille came out and said that, like, Tony Leon, I mean, has lived out in Brazil. He's done this before. He's well-rounded. He's well-educated. He's well-informed. He understands working, the workings of government and the workings of corporate. So he is the right person to go and place him in that ambassadorship in the United States of America. And some people, very interestingly, Lindiwe, now not Lindiwe Mazibuko, Lindiwe Sisulu has also been punted from some corners that she should take over from Rasool. It's a very interesting one, and there's obviously been the debate that Luthuli House says that they are the ones who need to get the person who's going to success Ebrahim Rasool, which is very interesting. And the DA came out saying, no, we are in a government of unity. We are supposed to do this together. ANC, my mandla, you can't do this alone. We have to do it together. So it's going to be a very interesting one to find out what the president says. But if you ask me, the snail's pace, yes, I understand diplomacy. I understand taking your time to make informed decisions, to consult and all of that. I think if we look at this entire saga, let's just leave this one and look at the entire saga, AfriForum and all of these groupings that are going left, right, and center, saying they're going to campaign for their rights that are being violated in South Africa and all of that. I think more than anything, if anything is dragging this entire thing, it is how quiet our president is. As I said, I understand diplomacy. I understand consultation. I understand taking a stand. I remember, I just forget the name of the person who was spot on as far as this is concerned, saying that it is not all, as we all know, white South Africans that, in bed with AfriForum and Solidarity and this whole thing of getting Amerikaners, saying that it was a very beautiful comment, saying that what should happen is that the South African business fraternity and the American business fraternity or formations, or organizations, or chambers they should be getting together. Currently, we have over 600 companies that are from the United States of America that are in South Africa. And somebody was saying that Business South Africa together with the Business US should be getting together and coming up with a solution in the light of all of these tariff battles or wars, stuff that is being imposed on us as the country. And the views are very interesting, man. Like, they're everywhere. I really would like to get yours as well. So if you have an opinion on it, like, who should be, guys? Like, if you were to thank you, Mush, for tuning in. Thank you, my brother. Yeah, you can drop your comments, like Tony Leon, Lindiwe Mazibuko, Lindiwe Sisulu. Who would best represent us as like, given as well the situation that we find ourselves in with the tariffs and obviously the lies that are being peddled, which brings me to my next item, or something that I really would like to talk about. It is this guy over here. All right. It is this guy, Rob Hersov. I'm sure if you are in social media platforms, you know, super wealthy, multi-billionaire. They made their money from the mines to the minerals, really, of South Africa. All those years back, they've dabbled into the consumer goods as well, being responsible for, or partnering with some of the biggest consumer businesses all around. But to have him, and I'm sure at some point, a lot of people, when they were discouraged, or when we were going into the whole GNU, heard little murmurs like that. A lot of people outside the white culture were understanding in terms of putting business first and all, but he has come to irk me. He has come to irritate me. He has come to disgust me. And this clip that I'm about to play for you is the reason why I'm disgusted.
White South Africans excel at academics and competition. And what we need to therefore understand and acknowledge that competing with us on merit remains a scary prospect that most Black South Africans won't support. It's hard to say that. And it's also hard to say we seem to be surviving BEE.
The only thing that is hard to stomach, Mr. Hersov, it is your lies. It is knowing fully well your company being involved in the mineral space in South Africa, and to make you the billionaires that you are. You know for a damn fact that from the mining space, it was always denying Black people education so that they can become laborers, people who had no choice but to become a policeman or to become a nurse or to become, whatever is necessary. Deny them education. And now you want to come back and you want to say that it is scary for us fucking Black people to compete with you, when for all the apartheid years, you were busy digging up those billions that you are enjoying right now, and you are using to dethrone a government that is there democratically. Yes, there's very little that we care about the ANC. We're coming from polls where Black South Africans, majority ANC voters, came and said, we're going to give you 40%, or we're not even going to vote. That is Black people talking after 40 years. Instead of you getting together and trying to find solutions, you're out there going around the country, going around the world, peddling lies. The only reason that Black people could not compete, or probably would have any fear of competing with you, it was pre-94. It was before 1994. You go look at the stats now and see, with all the difficulties with our education system in South Africa, with all your billions, you couldn't put them in thingy. You couldn't put them in education. And you want to talk about sports, the very same sports, starting from the Springboks, where you did not have Black people on, and you say that we are scared to sit up until today with national teams that would not consider Black people. And you want to come and talk nonsense like that. You want to take that and peddle it throughout the world as if there's something wrong with Black people. With all that is there, that is being tried, all the laws that you guys are busy. Come on, be realistic. I want people to actually just listen to this nonsense.
White South Africans excel at academics and competition. And what we need to therefore understand and acknowledge that competing with us on merit remains a scary prospect that most Black South Africans won't support. It's hard to say that. And it's also hard to say we seem to be surviving BEE.
There you sit. There you sit. I think that was one thing that really irked me. Not want to go on social media platforms and be blatant or anything like that. Well, at least we have a platform to do that and express ourselves and to call out the lies. And I think catching up on the news, I think it was today, Okay. It was the president saying that, like, well-meaning South Africans should get out there and dispel these lies that are being told. If you remember, not so long ago, I think that had to do with Human Rights Day and Julius Malema going bonkers as usual with the kill the boer, kill the farmer, and all of that. And for Elon Musk to come back and to take that and to put that, I think Trump subtweeted that comment or post that was posted by Elon Musk. Now, to have this group of white, privileged, super rich ass motherfuckers who are going to come and peddle lies, things that they know for a fact. They know for a damn fact that they are not true, but they're out there. How disgusting is that? How do you feel when you sit with your neighbor that wants nothing to do with AfriForum because they understand that, like, they are talking nonsense? Your white counterparts, as I always say, there are far more South Africans, black, yellow, green, white, that really want South Africa to work. Just like you feel like BE and the ANC has been the hindrance, it's been a hindrance for fucking black people as well. Look at our education; it hasn't improved. The standard was dropped from 50% to, like, now you need 30% to pass. Where are you going to work? Well-meaning South Africans, thinking South Africans are really pissed off at nonsense like that. Do you think everybody wants the 2% hike on VAT hike, which in turn is going to feed the very same cabinet that we've been saying that, like, government spending should be cut? And you want to come and go around the world, and peddle lies. And then at the end of it, whenever you finish your interviews, oh, I love South Africa. You're such a beautiful country. We would like for it to work. We just need to get rid of Malema. We just need to get rid of Ramaphosa and all of that. Are you putting your fucking money, like, where your mouth is and try to make South Africa work? Fuck no. I don't see you doing that. I see you peddling lies. Anyway, may I have a sip of my drink and move the fuck on. Anyway, that was it. Okay, now that I've gotten that out of my chest, we move on, people. That was the welcome that he received, and I'm sure some people saw the videos as well, getting his hero's welcome back into the country. And very interesting. And actually, we moved on, and moving right along. It's going to be a short show, as I said. I'm all alone today. I don't think anybody can deny the fact that the Nelson Mandela Metropolitan or Nelson Mandela Bay, whatever the hell you call it, has overtaken a lot of cities to be sitting atop as far as crime is concerned, and so much that there's a call that has come out from the first citizen of the Bay, or Babalwa Lovise, talking about a petition that is going around where they are calling on the president to actually do something about the out-of-hand crime in Nelson Mandela Bay. And very difficult for me to understand that the prevalence of guns. If you remember, we had an episode where we were discussing or talking about this, and the fact that you had a lot of dealings even within the former or the former South African police operatives who, when guns, there was a time for people to surrender their illegal guns and all of that stuff from KZN pre-94 and post-94. Those were sent down to the Western Cape somewhere so that they could be destroyed. And there was a gentleman who used to be a white gentleman, by the way, who colluded with people to sell those guns back instead of going to destroy them. And what I'm trying to get at is the fact that, like, they were prevalent in places like the KZN. They were prevalent in places like the Western Cape, in Cape Town. And the history of those two provinces provinces will tell you, from the gang-related murders and all that's been happening in Cape Town for all of these decades, and in KZN as well. And now they have found a place, or they have found feet to get to the Nelson Mandela Bay, and it is the crime levels are unacceptable. Yeah, I think the mayor is on the right track, and we've also picked up that the Transport and Safety MEC Uxolile Nqatha naye has deployed, I think has put about 200 boots, policemen, in Nelson Mandela Bay to curb, obviously, after learning about this whole thing, with the fact that, like, Nelson Mandela Bay is sitting where it is. It is very interesting. And I don't know, I mean, like, there've been stories everywhere of crime running rampant in South Africa. It has been going on for quite some time, and we don't seem to have a committed South African police service. We don't seem to have committed government representatives, in safety, in crime prevention, who are coming out and saying this is what we will do, or these are the results. I remember with Tabiso, somebody was saying in after another murder, or I think it was on Saturday in Motherwell, the way he was saying was very odd, is that, like, you just find the police coming to tell you about what happened instead of preventing what happened. We are sitting with a problem, a big problem. And when we sit at the end of it, the root of it all, it is unemployment. It is the messed up education. It is opportunities. It is the industrialization that we talk about. People need to get employed. People need this. People need that. And as we said, and somebody was saying that, like, up until we solve the poverty issue and problem, because there's no kid that is going to go and learn anything. You can fix the education, but if you're sending a kid without food to go get an education, you're still failing them. If when these kids get the little food, and go to school and graduate, there are no jobs. Now, you tell me, in a country where doctors spend so many years, are coming out of school and ready to work, and the country saying there are no jobs, what about the person that wants to be an artisan? What about a person who wants to be an electrician? How motivated is that person who wants to go to a TVET college and do a practical course that's going to change his life, like right now? And a lot of people, when we come into platforms like this, they're on some, like, no, you're always angry, you're always against the government. It is not being against the government. It is being fucking real. It is being real, people. We have a story of an ongoing case of an alleged child who was missing and allegedly was sold to Isangoma. You look at social activities or things that young kids who should be learning something, what are they getting up to? There are no sports fields. There are no mentors. There is no will. As soon as the clock strikes 2:00, the teacher's out of there. You and I grew up during a time where it was like, Saliso Dome is up. Uzawuhlala afternoon class. Saliso ngathi uyasilela, uzawuza esikolweni on a Saturday for extra classes. And the craziest thing is that when we talk about the crime in Nelson Mandela Bay, there's a teacher, I think from Woma, his kids got 100%. That man was killed, was a crime victim. And we sit here and nobody's addressing it. Nobody is coming up with a solution. I can only feel for people that work in PE. You might be short, get caught up in crossfire. You're not even the intended person for this. And at least to come up with to come across something like this from the mayor brings a little bit of hope, where at least government officials are saying that, like, we are calling on the community, so we get together and we make a call to the president, a president who gets briefed every damn day about what's happening. He's probably well aware of the fact that Nelson Mandela Bay is put atop as far as crime is concerned in South Africa, and even some parts of the continent, and even some parts of places where there are war zones. So I think it is for us, to an extent, as citizens, to stand up for these things. There have been videos that have been flying around of people. I remember one gentleman went to a traffic department. There were about 6 eye testing cubicles. There was only one working, and there was a sea of people sitting in those in those seats, waiting to be served by a person who's earning a good salary, working for government, who is supposed to solve people's problems so that they do not go and buy driver's licenses. They are there. And you, as a person who is employed by government, you figure it is okay to keep these people waiting up until you fucking feel like it. There have been 2 other videos, one at a clinic where a person is lying there and they've been sitting, and the people were saying on the video, this person has been here for a long time and we've been asking. There's a government employee who works there, who's well remunerated. I will attend to it when I feel like it. There was another clinic as well. Sometimes we're out here, we blaming government, but at the end of the day, it is you. It is you who got employment. And then you figure that abantu abamnyama now must beg you. They must wait until you are in a good mood before you can do a job that you get paid for. Now, unfortunately, probably have to get this shit out of my chest because it is out there. How are you going to fight crime? How are you going to get assistance? Nurses back in the day, when they get off from a taxi going to their homes, they would have people that accompany them. And all they do this like, oh, Nesi, umama bekhohlela, today, my mom was coughing today, and I don't know, we tried, and that was protection. Those people were sharing information. Right now, you're a nurse who gets into your SUV and you off to buy some KFC, and you off to go see your friends, you off to get a savannah, you off to go to church, whatever. What about the community, the people that you're supposed to serve? Going beyond, you're not even going beyond that line, because you can't even help these people when they are in hospitals, when they are in clinics. I think as a country, we can do better. I think to quiet the noise that comes from AfriForum and the Solidarity and all of these people, it is for us as Black people to say that we are not that. We're the ones who are supposed to say to Rob Hersov that try us, see how educated we are. I said this from year 2000. Black children were graduating left, right, and center. They still do up until today. The only way for us to quiet that, it is to work together. It is to do what you get paid for. You're supposed to be a clinic from 7 o'clock up until 4 o'clock, helping your people. That's why crime wouldn't affect you. That is why clinics could not get robbed. Policemen, as I've always said, they would go. They're supposed to be physically fit. They are supposed to have a group of 5 boys at least that they train, soccer, whatever they're interested in. Who is not doing that? Government must catch you on the move. Cops have security companies, police stations. Make it make sense. A police station gets an invoice from a private security company for its safety. Police are not safe. They might come in and steal guns. It is us. It is up to you. In your little corner, make the difference. That's all we're saying. But anyway, we're moving right along, and I did say that it will be a very short episode today. Another thing that kind of like it bothered me a little bit. Like, obviously, forgive me. This episode, let's just call it Slicer's Rant. The 21st of March, Sharpeville Day, Langa Day, Gwanobuhle. And I believe that the deputy president was out in Udnik, Kariecha, celebrating the 21st of March, Human Rights Day, and commemorating. That was done by Nelson Mandela. That was done by Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela had to do that. He had to conscientize people. Thabo Mbeki came in, not so much. He was focusing on the economy. In 2025, are you telling me you're still going back to the same victims that apparently you have not done fuck all for? You go in 21st of March, they VIP, they're sitting out there like on a toll. Yeah, these people suffered. Yeah, this had happened. In 2025, as a deputy president, you should be going to Etinaga, to Sharpeville. You should be going to Kariecha to go open a project that speaks to human rights. Not going over the same old. Those people even passed on. It's probably their grandparents, their grandkids that are there. Sit nicely with them, take pictures and all of that. The narrative has to change. You should be out in Sharpeville and say, to commemorate, we are opening this clinic. We are doing this. We've employed so many kids from Sharpeville. From the victims, this is where they are. Their daughter became a doctor. Not going on still lifting up like fists and going on about how hard it was, how difficult it was. Come on, guys. And as I said, it will be a very short episode because both my partners are not here, committed elsewhere. And I think one of the things that we picked up that, so sad, man. So sad was learning about this giant right here, George Foreman, legendary boxer, dying at 76. Yeah. We've been losing a lot of greats, a lot of people that mean something. And you probably do remember the days. Would have been nice to get comments from you in terms of waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, hoping to catch a George Foreman fight with Ali, would have been very interesting. But a legend has passed on, and we say go well, good sir. You fought a good fight. And I think one of the reasons why I decided to bring him up as well, it was probably to speak to sports people, to people that are employed as freelancers, people whose careers have a short lifespan, and to take a look at people like George Foreman. Tyson is selling weed like nobody's business and making far more money and happier right now. People like Shaquille O'Neal retiring from basketball to be one of the wealthiest people in the world, from endorsements, from opening up businesses. And if you remember, George Foreman came up with, forget what it was called, this particular grill, and it was all centered around his brand and now living healthy. I think the whole appeal and the reason why I decided to bring this story up, apart from him being a boxing great, it is the fact that I really would like to make a call to you, who's in sports. Your lifespan or your career span is very short. We often read of football players that are working as petrol attendants and all of these things. While you are making those big bucks, bro, it is the best time for you to start investing or start looking at what you're going to be doing at the end of it. Something to fall back on, they call it. So I think is one of those people, or one of the first people from his generation, who actually planted that seed in me that you actually need to look beyond this. When radio ends, what do? When music starts, being free like it is, what do? So I think it's something for you to think about as a young person going into this career. It's very nice. I mean, like when you starting off, Bazan Scouter, and then I'm gonna go play in England, and then thinking people like Lucas Khatebe. That is something for you to look at. But anyway, I think, as I had said, it's going to be a very short episode, and I think we've come to the end of it. Yeah, with 12 minutes to go, for us to complete an hour, but we're definitely not going to be trying to be pushing that. As I had promised, next week, at least to Toto, I'm sure we'll be back. We will have a special episode. One of the things that I wanted to do was to reach out to a gentleman in the automotive space to find out how the whole EV space or thing is going in, especially in the Eastern Cape, because I believe that they were busy putting up these charging stations, and I remember all of us being skeptical. How are you going to put up these charging stations in a country that is still marred by, electricity blackouts? But I remember I was sharing that they were reaching their target, and hopefully we can bring that and go down and cover that and come back and look at what it really means, to have these charging stations, with the electricity challenges, and also with the price of EVs. It's better for me to go to China, go get myself a car in China, but EVs, and then also grants that are being given to countries, to go green and all of this stuff. What does it mean for us? And as I shared, that we also will be delving a little bit deeper. I got a chance to speak to the Chief Financial Officer and Vice President of BAIC in Nelson Mandela Bay, around the Chinese imports and Chinese cars in South Africa, and what the future holds, and opportunities for localization, meaning that young people from South Africa, having these companies here. What does it mean? Are they getting jobs? Or are we forever going to get these cars fully built coming from China? So it's a very interesting one for you to look forward to. We will have that conversation for you next week, as well as the acting CEO, Mr. Ben Mazwi, at the Durban Harbour, talking about very interesting stuff and career opportunities for young people. They've got helicopters that do a lot of stuff. They've got very interesting careers, that you as a young person can tap into, instead of just looking at a car as that thing, yeah, I'm getting from point A to point B, and all of that. See yourself making one. So it's going to be a very interesting one. And of course, I want to extend my gratitude and thanks to Tazes as well as the AIDC for inviting me and allowing me an opportunity to have a chat with those industry leaders in the automotive space. So be on the lookout for it. And guys, thank you once again for tuning in. Edward Slice's rent today. Edward Slice's rent today. I hope that you got something. You enjoyed it, but it still would be interesting to find out what your thoughts are when we're talking about who should succeed Mr. Rasool in the United States of America. Lindiwe Sisulu obviously comes from the African National Congress. The United States of America will not be keen on taking her on. Tony Leon, with all the experience, South Africans will probably be reluctant to send a proxy. He will not be there for the interest of the country and stuff like that. Lindiwe Mazibuko, is she strong personality enough to deal with all of the challenges, and especially during this time that the 4 years that Trump is going to be around. So it should be very interesting. Who should be sent, guys? Yeah, it can't be Mkwanazi. We need to keep Mkwanazi in the country, bro. That guy is doing the Lord's work, if you ask me. Yeah. A lot of people have been saying, yeah, he needs to be sent to the Nelson Mandela Bay. But anyway, that was it, guys. Your comments are very important. People that you would like for us to have. And I did mention to you that come the 1st of the first Monday of April, we will have a new feature. If you are an entrepreneur, you're into business, please hang around. Have a very fine, well-informed, enthusiastic gentleman who has his own podcast, who will be joining the Slicer TV podcast and affording us insights and a lot of news around entrepreneurship and business, which has been one of the pillars that I've been so waiting for to get onto the Slicer TV podcast. But anyway, with that, thank you very much. Have yourself a great evening. Try to do better. It doesn't matter where you are. Do better. Treat people better, especially when you are in a position of influence. And by the way, shout out to Zozibini. Shout out to Zozibini. We've not been hearing a lot about her since Miss South Africa decided to cut ties with her when she was like, you ain't going to rough my hair like that, for being outspoken. You know what I mean? It makes you think and wonder, what representation does Miss South Africa has? Does it still have any significance? You know what I mean? Shouldn't we be starting our own Miss Ubuntu? Thoughts, guys, and ideas for you to get out there. But anyway, congratulations to Zoz and the hubby. Guys, thank you very much. We'll see each other next week.